Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. Prior to creation, everything was within Allah. Everything was contained within Allah. And then He revealed it. He brought it out. He created the worlds and all the universes, and He created us. Each of us also creates a world. We create our own world. We create our own understanding of what is going on around us. We create our own understanding of what goes on in our lives. And we carry this world that we create on our shoulders. And this world, for many, many people, becomes an incredible burden. It becomes very, very heavy. And people have trouble carrying the world and carrying all of the difficulties that come with it. In truth, the world is but a dot, yet the mind makes the world into a mountain, and this mountain becomes onerous for us. It becomes very difficult for us. It becomes an incredible burden for us to carry this world. Why is it like this? It's like this because we haven't yet entered into wisdom. We view everything through the ignorance of our mind. And when ignorance looks at the world appears big. The world appears overwhelming. The world appears more than can be handled. But we need to break through that appearance. And we need to be able to get to the reality of it. As opposed to carrying the world on our back, we should make the world into shoes so that we can walk around with it, but not carry it, so that it protects our feet when we walk through the jungle. It's like that. It depends on our point of view. It depends on who we are. It depends on our maturity. There are many things that we have to learn along the way. As we walk through the world, we run into happiness and we run into sadness. And during times of sadness, we become destroyed. And during times of happiness, we become exultant. But in truth, the happinesses and sadnesses come and go. They go up and they go down and they change. They're not substantive. They don't have staying power. They come and they disappear. They come and they disappear. We need to be able to enter into those things that don't disappear. We need to come to know what doesn't disappear. Now, love doesn't disappear. Love has a stability to it, and love is never ending. Love comes from Allah, and that divine love has no beginning or end. It is, and it is eternal. And if we can leave the happiness and the sadness of our life and enter into that eternal world of love, our life will change. And if we can see the world through the point of view of love, then all of the difficulties that we have as we go through this world will disappear, and we will reside, as opposed to the happiness and sadness and the roller coaster that is the world, we will reside within divine love, which is constant, which doesn't change, and which fulfills all that we need. The mind travels around the world. The mind is constantly moving. The mind is going from place to place, trying to find some sort of stability, trying to find some sort of peace. But love doesn't need to travel. Love is sufficient wherever it is. It doesn't need anything else. Since it comes from Allah, it is sufficient unto itself. And when we can understand that sufficiency, when we can understand that, then we can become content and we can become peaceful. We can understand truth. If someone goes to a play, a show, depending on their inclination, they focus on different parts of the show. If one is interested in music, one will listen particularly to the music in the show. If one is particularly interested in a horn instrument, one will listen more to the horns than he listens to anything else. Or one may listen to the guitar more than he listens to anything else. Or one may listen to the drums more than he listens to anything else. Whatever instrument he has the closest attachment to is the instrument he will listen to. However, if one is a singer, one will listen to the singing in the show because that's what touches them. That's where their interest is. If one has interest in makeup and costumes, one will be looking at the makeup and the costumes in the show. One will be concentrating on those things. Others come for the drama. They're interested in drama, so they look at the drama in the show. There are so many different aspects in the entertainment that one goes to see that one has many, many choices as to what it is they wish to pay attention to and what it is they wish to focus on. Now, a man of wisdom, when he goes to a show, focuses on the point, and he looks for the points that he can take directly to God. Because for a man of wisdom, everything is about Allah. Everything comes from Allah, and everything returns to Allah. So his point of view is such that it is constantly focused on Allah. And we need to develop that kind of a maturity. We need to develop that kind of an understanding where our focus is constantly on Allah. When we talk about an entertainment, a show, a play, in truth, this world that we walk through is a play, and everybody is an actor within the play. And all of the choices you have as to what to watch when you go to an entertainment are available to you as you walk through this world. And as you walk through this world, you have to choose. What is it that you're going to pay attention to? What is it that you're going to spend your time with? What is it that you're going to watch? What is it that you're going to be focused on? What is it that your intention is connected to. A dervish was walking through a bazaar and he heard someone screaming, "The sweetest there is, the sweetest there is," at the top of his lungs. And the dervish fainted because he was sure the man was talking about God. In fact, the man was trying to sell watermelons. But the point of view of the dervish was such that everything he heard pointed him towards God and the ecstasy of being with God. Can we redirect our point of view in that way? Can we redirect our point of view so that it is focused on that which is essential? Or are we constantly involved in the peripheral? Are we constantly involved in the side things of the creation? Are we constantly involved in that which has no importance to us but glitters in the dark, but attracts our eye that is attracted to illusion, attracts our desire that is attracted to illusion? Or are we looking for the truth? What are we looking for? We must understand what it is we are looking for. A group of men were sitting in the forest where they had gone to have their lunch and to enjoy the weather and to enjoy the breezes within the forest. While they were there, and as they were deep in paying attention to each other and talking, a thief came and stole some of their belongings. They realized this after a little while, and they went running looking for the thief. While they were running looking for the thief, they ran into a dervish who was sitting under a tree. And they said to the dervish, "Have you seen the thief that ran off with our belongings?" And the dervish looked at them and said, "Would you rather find the thief, or would you rather find yourself?" Immediately, the dervish brought everything back to reality. They were caught in illusion and looking for illusion. And he said, "Would you rather find the thief, or would you rather find yourself?" And they all thought, and immediately they answered, "We would rather find ourselves." And this became the beginning of their journey because of the fact that they ran into a holy man who could direct them appropriately. Otherwise, they would spend the rest of their time looking for the thief who took their belongings. And in truth, if you don't find yourself, if you don't look for yourself, who is the thief in your life? Who is the one who is stealing your birthright? Who is the one who is taking you away from the truth? Who is the one who is hiding reality from you? Who is the one who is interfering with your maturity and with your progress? Who is he or she? Well, obviously, the answer is evident. The answer is you yourself are the thief in your life. And unless you get hold of that thief and stop paying attention to that thief and trying to find out the truth of who you are, you will be lost and you will be caught within the gravitational forces that keep you within this earth. You will be unable to transcend this illusory world and go into reality. To understand this, we have to understand the nature of our body. Our body is made up of the elements. Allah used the elements to create us. Allah used the elements to make our body. And what has happened to most of mankind is they have confused this body that each of us have and each of us walk around in as who we are. We begin to believe that this body and ourselves are one and the same. Unless we can get over that perception, unless we can understand that this amalgamation of elemental sources, fire, water, air, ether, and earth, that have been taken by Allah to make man are just a shell, a cover for what is really ourselves, we will be lost, because our life will be led in an elemental way. Our life will be led in attraction to the elements of the world. Our life will be led in attachment to the illusions of the world. Our life will be led in such a way that we are not trying to find truth, we are trying to find out more about the elements, trying to find out more about illusion. So this is what Bawa referred to as ignorance. The constant search for life within this elemental structure, the constant search for satisfaction within this elemental structure, the constant attempt to fulfill desire that is brought about by the mind within this elemental structure is ignorance, because it looks at what's not real and gives it the authority of being real. So we have to be able to understand what is and what isn't real. And we have to be able to differentiate, which means there has to come a point in our life sometime when we lose our fascination with the elemental world, that we lose our fascination with the glitters of illusion, that we lose our fascination with the magnetism of illusion, that we lose our fascination with the world. It's only then that we can begin true progress towards reality, true progress towards truth. And true progress towards truth means that we establish within ourselves a search for peace, a search for truth, a search for Allah. And how do we establish this search? We have to break things down to their fundamentals. And we have to let go of everything that is unnecessary. I remember once someone asked Bawa, could you tell us about Atlantis? And Bawa's response was, why do you need to know about Atlantis? You don't know who you are, and yet you ask me about lost civilizations. Why don't you look at what's in front of you at this moment? But that's what happens to us. We all have attention deficit disorder when it comes to ourselves. Our attention is constantly outside of ourselves and will attach to almost anything. that will distract us from thinking about ourselves and learning about ourselves. To break through the barrier that holds us separate from the light takes great effort and takes great concentration. And it's much easier not to concentrate. It's much easier not to have effort. It's much easier to watch the show that's going on all around us at every moment, whether it's by television or movie or radio or YouTube or just walking in the park or just carrying on our daily life. It's much easier to pay attention to that show than to be able to sit still and internalize our life, see who we are, and try to understand who we are. There is a unity in existence that we have to understand. There is a unity among mankind that we have to understand. There is a oneness between all of us that we have to understand. And somehow we have to break through the barriers of illusion that hold us back from finding this. We have to be strong enough to overcome the joys and pleasures of illusion and look for the real treasure in our life and understand the real treasure in our life. We have to be able to overcome the temporary joys that the world is capable of giving us and look towards the permanent joy that is available to us, the real treasure that's available to us. Think of anything that you enjoy in the world and realize that whatever it is, it has a time span. It passes, it comes, and it disappears. The ecstasy of the moment leaves you. Eating may be pleasurable, but then eating stops and that disappears. We need to understand that all of the joys that we have in this world are temporary and fleeting, and we are basically chasing the recreation of those moments over and over and over again. Heroin addicts tell the story of the first time they got high and the ecstasy of the moment. And then they tell the story of trying to repeat that moment for the rest of their lives until it kills them, destroys them, and ruins everything they've ever known. It's like that with anything that we love in the world. It will destroy us, it will ruin us, and we will dissipate. Now, it may happen quicker, it may happen later, but it will happen. All of these addictions to whatever it is that we have in the world speed up the rate of this cooperation that exists between the elemental portions of ourself. It speeds up their dissolution. It speeds up their coming apart. And when the elements that have made up this cooperation, that is our body, no longer get along with each other and they begin to break up, that is the end of the body. And if we've lived our entire life as if we were this body, what happens when this body begins to break up? What happens to us when this body begins to break up? What happens when we are faced with the reality that this is coming apart. What do we have to fall back on? What have we established for ourselves for that moment? There are many stories of successful, rich, powerful people in this world who, when they come near death and all they've had in their life was the world, say things like, well, I guess I've lost. I guess I am lost. I guess everything I had has disappeared and I'm disappearing with it. Now, if you've created for yourself another life, if you've created for yourself the knowledge of another body within your body, if you've created for yourself the ability to know that there is more to you than this physical body, then there is an escape from this world for you. There is an escape through the pulls of all of the magnetic and gravitational forces within this world for you. But you have to allow that knowledge to enter deeply within you. A sheikh, a guru, a teacher can come and explain the world to you. He can explain life and death to you. He can explain God and Satan to you. He can explain God's qualities to you. He can show you the nature of God's qualities, and he can tell you that the greatest treasure that is available to you in existence is God's qualities, and there is no treasure greater than that, and that this is the treasure for your life that will take you away from the pain and suffering of existence to the eternal glory of the effulgence of his grace, wherein you partake in the ecstasy that is our Lord. But you have to do the work to get to that place. You have to do the work. Each of us has to do the work to cleanse ourselves so that we enter into that purity. We have this physical being that is attracted to the physical nature of this world. It's like a magnetic pull. Our mind, our desire attaches to things, and we want to bring them within us. We want to swallow the world. Two bullfrogs were at the edge of a pond, and they were in competition over a female. So they ran at each other. And one of the bullfrogs opened up its mouth to swallow the other one. And the other bullfrog kept expanding. So one kept getting bigger, opening its mouth. The other kept expanding until they both exploded and they both died. And this is what happens when we try to swallow the world. We can't swallow the world. We can't conquer the world. All of this is an illusion. And the more powerful people become, the greater that illusion persists in their minds, because they have created a world in their mind that has nothing to do with reality. It only has to do with their own intent as to the perception of what's real. So if their intention is, I need to rule the world, then their perception of the world becomes a place that they can rule. And this is the big lie. And the mind is constantly lying to us. So we have to enter into a space where the lie no longer affects us. We have to enter into a space where we become small, we become humble, we stop being this great thing in our own head. There's an expression in English, he's a legend in his own mind. Well, all of us are legends in our own minds. We have to do away with the legend of who we are to understand the truth of who our creator is, to understand the truth of who the sheikh is that teaches us the true way, to understand that reality, to understand that our place is to become humble. Our place is to become modest. Our place is to be ashamed when we deviate from truth, when we deviate from reality, when we deviate from doing Allah's will. We have to become strong in that way, and we have to know what our duty is. There was once a sheikh who was staying at a disciple's house, and the disciple didn't want to disturb the sheikh by asking him to give discourses, even though there were many people in the house. He wanted to put him in the bedroom and go to sleep so he could rest because he was sure he was tired. And the sheikh said to him, "What are you trying to protect me from?" And the man said, the disciple said, "I'm trying to protect you from the burden of all these people who want to hear from you." And the sheikh said, "Don't you understand? That's why I'm here. You're trying to protect me from what God has instructed me to do. You're trying to protect me from my reality, from my purpose. I understand my purpose. Now it's also up to you to understand your purpose." The sheikh knows that he's here to teach. The sheikh knows that he's here to help humanity. Do we know what our purpose is? Our purpose is to learn what it is that he teaches, to imbibe it within ourselves so that we too can become like him, so that we too can carry forward truth. Ignorance is on one side, light is on the other side. Ignorance can confuse man for years and years and years. Understand that for Satan to capture you, he doesn't need to make us into great sinners. He doesn't need for us to become murderers. He doesn't need for us to become thieves. What he needs from us, what Satan wants from us, is to get us into conversation, to get us into an ongoing conversation about doubt, about illusion, to draw us away from truth, to keep us away from setting the intention to go towards truth. So every time a distraction comes into our being, we need to say, "A'ud billahi minash shaitani rajim," which means, "Drive Satan away from me, O Lord," as if you did it with a lightning bolt. And then say, "Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim," in the name of God, the creator, the sustainer, the nourisher, the one who protects us, to the one who we have come from, and the one who we return to. That focus of truth has to be at the forefront of our consciousness. It has to be at the forefront of our consciousness all the time. And no matter how often we repeat that, no matter how many times we're told that, no matter how many times we've sat with the sheikh, no matter how many times we've said, "La ilaha illallah," there's always the temptation that brings us back to indulging within illusion, to getting pleasure out of illusion. And whenever this happens, we have to remind ourselves there is a much greater treasure available to us. There is a much greater treasure that is at our fingertips, and we deny it for the sake of a few glittering beads that have no value, for a few glittering moments that are passing and will disappear. We need to be able to focus on what is real, focus on what is true, and never leave that focus. Constantly reiterate over and over and over and over and over again. The truth is Allah exists and nothing else matters. The truth is our Lord is with us and takes us to where things are real. The truth is that we came from him, we will return to him. And if we understand the nature of his qualities, and if we can imbibe those qualities, the true grandiosity of who we are will become evident. Is there anyone greater than an Insan Kamil? Is there anyone richer than a man who knows himself? Is there anyone who has more than the man who has himself? Is there any treasure greater in the world than the treasure of knowing who we really are, and in knowing who we are, knowing our Lord? Is there any treasure greater than Rahman or Rahim or Shakur or Sabur? Is there any treasure that is greater than the grace of Allah? We can only find grace through grace, and grace can only be found through him. So in our surrender to him, we find who we are, and we find the grace that is within us is the grace that is within him, because he put it within us, and we return to that which was the place of our formation, that which was the place of our creation, that which was the place of our truth, is the place of our truth, will continue to be the place of our truth, and that will be our salvation. So we need to relieve ourselves of all of the illusions that cloud our mind. And then we need to relieve ourselves of our mind and our desire and go into that open space of freedom where Allah exists and where we become intermingled with him. May that become the truth for each of us. May we disappear. May we give up our mind. May we give up our desire. May we give up our arrogance. May we give up all of the things that separate us from truth, and may we become at one with truth. Ameen, ameen. Ya Rabbil Alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.